The stars were bright against the dark canvas of space. But for Liam, they did not feel peaceful. He sat in the cockpit of his small reconnaissance ship, the Aurora, scanning the alien planet below. Zerathia, the reports had said, was beautiful but dangerous. Its skies glowed with strange colors, and its surface was covered in towering crystals that hummed faintly in the wind. Liam had never seen anything like it. His mission was simple: observe and gather data. The humans needed to know what the alien civilization was capable of. But as his ship descended, Liam felt an uneasy tension. The atmosphere of Zerathia seemed alive. Every gust of wind and every shimmer in the sky felt deliberate, as if the planet itself was watching him. "Focus, Liam," he muttered to himself, adjusting the ship's controls. Just a quick scan and back home. The ground was closer now, and Liam's sensors detected movement. Strange silhouettes darted between the crystals. They were small, fast, and completely unlike any life form he had seen before. Liam leaned forward, trying to focus on one. Suddenly, the shadows vanished. A chill ran down his spine. Before he could react, a pulse of energy struck his ship. The Aurora shuddered violently, alarms ringing in his ears. Lights flickered as the ship spiraled out of control. Liam fought the controls, trying to stabilize the ship, but another pulse hit, this one stronger. The ship tumbled, and he lost all connection with human command. The last thing he remembered before blackout was a massive shadow moving across the sky. Then everything went dark. When Liam opened his eyes, he was no longer in his ship. He was lying on a cold, smooth floor inside a strange chamber. The walls glimmered with shifting colors, and soft, eerie light filled the space. He tried to sit up, but found himself restrained by bands of material that seemed to pulse slightly against his skin. A voice echoed through the chamber, deep and commanding. "You are far from home, human." Liam turned his head and saw a figure approach. It was tall, regal, with shimmering skin that reflected the light like liquid metal. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its presence was overwhelming. Liam's heart pounded. He had read reports about the rulers of Zerathia, but nothing prepared him for the reality. "I am Queen Marana," the figure said. Her voice was both beautiful and terrifying. "You trespass on my world. For this, your life is forfeit." Liam swallowed hard. I didn't mean any harm," he said, his voice trembling. "I was just observing. Silence." The Queen's voice cut through him like steel. "You are judged, and judgment is final." Two guards stepped forward, large and armored, carrying weapons Liam had never seen. They did not hesitate. He struggled, but the restraints held him firmly. His mind raced, trying to think of any way to escape. But the room was secure, and he had no weapons. He was trapped. As the guards led him away, Liam's eyes caught another figure watching from a shadowed balcony. It was a young woman, human in shape, but clearly of the alien species. Her eyes were gentle, curious, and filled with concern. Liam felt a spark of hope. Perhaps she could help him. The guards dragged him into a massive hall. The ceiling stretched high, and crystalline structures hung like chandeliers, refracting light across the walls. Queen Marana followed silently, her presence commanding attention. The hall was empty except for a few attendants who bowed deeply. As she passed, "You will face your execution at dawn," the Queen announced. "All who witness it will know the fate of those who defy me." Liam's stomach twisted. Execution. The word echoed in his mind. He had trained for dangerous missions, but he had never faced this. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to fight, to survive. Yet he was powerless. As he was pushed toward the prison area, Liam stole glances at the young woman from the balcony. She had not moved. Her expression did not match the Queen's fury. She looked worried. He could not read her mind, but her eyes spoke something he could not ignore. Once inside the prison, Liam was thrown into a small cell. The walls glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. The restraints released him, but he remained cautious. The room had no doors he could see, no visible escape routes. The only window was a small opening high above, showing the sky beyond, filled with Zarathia's strange glowing clouds. Liam sat down, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He examined the cell carefully. The walls seemed smooth, almost liquid, but he noticed faint seams, lines that suggested panels. Perhaps he could find a way out if he studied them carefully. Hours passed. He had lost track of time. The chamber outside remained quiet, the only sound the distant hum of the planet. Then, unexpectedly, a soft voice whispered from the shadows. "Human," it said. Liam froze, searching for the source. From a corner, a figure stepped forward. It was the young woman he had seen earlier. She moved gracefully, avoiding the attention of any censors. "My name is Nira," she said. I want to help you." Liam stared at her, unsure whether to trust her. "Why?" he asked. "Your people. The Queen. She will kill me." Nira hesitated. "Because not all of us agree with her ways. Some of us see truth. Courage. You have something she does not understand." Liam felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps he was not completely alone. Perhaps this young woman could change his fate. As the stars outside glimmered and the alien city continued its quiet hum, Liam realized that survival would require more than strength. He would need courage, cleverness, and the trust of someone he barely knew. And in the shadows, Nira watched him, knowing that their meeting was the first step in a story that could change both their worlds forever. The prison of Zarathia was unlike anything Liam had imagined. It was not cold like human prisons, nor harshly lit. Instead, it hummed softly, glowing in pale blues and greens that shifted across the walls. The floor was smooth, reflecting light, like water, and the air smelled faintly of minerals and rain. Though beautiful, the prison was designed to make escape impossible. Liam sat on the floor of his cell, his back against the wall, his hands flexed instinctively, testing the strength of the restraints he had left behind. Though the Queen had removed the physical bindings, the sense of confinement was still strong. Every thought he made had to consider the possibility of alien censors and guards patrolling nearby. He looked around the cell carefully. There were no visible doors, no obvious exits. The walls seemed seamless, but he noticed subtle lines, faint patterns that hinted at panels. Perhaps there was a way to manipulate them if he could understand the alien technology. He needed time, observation, and patience. Hours passed. At first he tried to rest, but sleep was impossible. His mind kept returning to Zarathia's skies, the strange crystals below, and the glowing corridors of the Queen's palace. He knew he could not simply wait for death. Then, almost without warning, a soft voice came from above. "Human." Liam froze. He had not seen anyone enter. Slowly, he turned his head toward the voice. From a shadowed corner, a figure appeared. It was Nira, the Queen's daughter. Her presence was gentle but deliberate. She did not speak to the guards or the censors. She had found a way to approach him without being noticed. "Who are you?" Liam whispered, trying to keep his voice low. "Why are you here?" "I am Nira," she said, stepping closer. I do not agree with my mother's ways. I see courage and truth where she sees only danger. You are not like the others. You are not a threat. Not truly." Liam studied her. She was like him in shape, but her skin shimmered faintly under the alien light. Her eyes were deep and full of concern. For the first time since his capture, Liam felt something that he had not felt in hours. Hope. "Why help me?" he asked cautiously. "Your mother will kill you if she knows you are talking to me." Nira hesitated. "Because some things are more important than fear," she said softly. "Your survival matters, not just to you, but to all who can see the possibility of a better path. I want to give you a chance." Liam felt a strange warmth at her words. He knew he could not trust her completely, but he also knew that without help, he would not last long. "I don't even know if I can escape," he said. "This place, it is impossible." Nira smiled faintly. "Nothing is impossible. Not if you watch, think, and act carefully. I can guide you." For the next several hours, they spoke quietly. Nira explained how the prison worked, pointing out the weak points in the walls and the timing of the patrols. She told him about her world, about the structure of her society, and about the fearsome Queen Marana. Liam listened intently, absorbing every detail. As they talked, Liam realized something remarkable. He was not just learning about the prison. He was learning about a world completely different from his own. Zarathia's beauty and danger were intertwined. Its people had rules and patterns, and understanding them might be the key to survival. "You must be patient," Nira said finally. "Do not act too quickly. Wait for the right moment. Watch the guards, notice their habits, and use the tools your mind already knows." Liam nodded. "I will. But I need to know. Can you help me more than just talk? Can you actually do something if I try to escape?" Nira's gaze was steady. "I will help in the ways I can. I cannot fight the Queen openly, but small acts, secret guidance, yes, I can do that. You must act carefully. Your life depends on it." Over the next few days, Nira continued her secret visits. Liam learned about the daily routines of the guards, the subtle ways the walls could be manipulated, and the patterns of surveillance. Each lesson was a piece of a puzzle, a map for a possible escape. Liam practiced in his mind, running scenarios and imagining each step. During these conversations, Liam and Nira grew closer, not in words of love, but in trust. They shared their fears, their hopes, and their understanding of what courage truly meant. Liam told Nira about Earth, the humans who had trained him, and the lives he had left behind. Nira told him about her people, her studies, and her secret doubts about her mother's rule. One evening, as the alien sky outside glowed with colors unlike anything on Earth, Nira spoke softly. "You may not realize it yet, human, but your presence here is changing more than just your fate. You are showing that courage and intelligence can challenge fear itself." Liam looked at her, feeling a mix of gratitude and determination. "I don't want to die here," he said simply. "I want to survive, and I want to prove that humans can do more than fight. They can understand, learn, and create. If I survive, it will not just be for me." Nira nodded. "Then you must be careful. The Queen's patience is short. Every moment counts, and every decision matters. We must move wisely, not recklessly." The prison walls were silent witnesses to their conversation. Outside, the palace continued its quiet hum, a world full of rules, power, and danger. Inside, two beings from different worlds shared a moment of understanding and trust, the first spark of hope in a place designed to destroy it. Liam lay down that night on the smooth floor of the cell, his mind alive with plans. He knew the road. Ahead was perilous. He knew the Queen's eyes were everywhere. But he also knew he had a guide, someone who believed in him, someone who had risked everything to give him a chance. As sleep finally came, fleeting but real, Liam dreamed not of fear, but of possibility. He dreamed of courage, of clever plans, and of a world that could be more than what it seemed. And high above, hidden in the shadows, Nira watched over him, knowing that the first step had been taken toward a future neither of them fully understood, but both hoped to shape together. The prison of Zarathia was secure. The queen was merciless. But for the first time, hope had entered the heart of a human captive. The halls of the Zarathian palace were alive with quiet tension. Queen Marana moved with grace and authority, each step echoing through the crystalline corridors. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, missed nothing. She had sensed a disturbance in her carefully ordered world, a small ripple in the perfect control she exerted over her subjects. The source of the ripple was clear to her. Nira, her daughter, had been behaving strangely. Her movements were cautious, almost secretive. She had lingered in the shadows near the prisoner's chambers, far longer than propriety allowed. Marana's instincts told her that Nira was involved with the human captive, Liam, and that he might still live because of her interference. Marana paused in the grand observation hall, looking out over the glowing city below. She did not raise her voice, for she did not need to. The mere intensity of her gaze could silence anyone nearby. But even in her silence, her mind raced. This human had entered her world uninvited. He had broken her rules by surviving, and now her daughter risked everything by helping him. "I will not allow this," she said quietly to herself. "He will pay for trespassing, and Nira, she will learn the cost of defiance." That evening, the palace was filled with whispers. Guards patrolled with more precision, and the usual hum of Zarathia's energy seemed sharper, almost threatening. Liam, unaware of the growing storm outside his cell, sat quietly on the smooth floor, running over the lessons Nira had given him. He had learned the patrol patterns, the subtle shifts in the walls, and the faint weaknesses in the sensors. He began to piece together a plan for escape. Suddenly, the soft glow of his cell changed. A voice echoed, sharper this time. "Liam!" Nira appeared at the entrance, her expression tense. "You must be careful," she whispered urgently. "Mother knows something is happening. She is suspicious. You cannot act too quickly." Liam nodded. "I understand, but we cannot wait forever. I need to be ready if the moment comes." Nira's eyes reflected worry. "Yes, but timing is everything. One wrong move, and the queen she will end you, and it will be immediate. There is no mercy in her judgment." The gravity of her words pressed on Liam's mind. The queen was not only powerful, she was relentless. She had ruled Zarathia with precision, and no one had challenged her successfully. Liam realized that even with Nira's help, his plan would have to be perfect. Every observation, every small step, could be the difference between life and death. Days passed. Nira continued her secret visits, guiding him and giving subtle hints. She taught him how to listen to the hum of the walls, how to recognize the patterns in the patrols, and how to move without alerting sensors. Liam absorbed every detail, his mind sharpening with each lesson. But the queen's suspicion grew. Marana watched Nira closely, noting her strange movements and quiet defiance. Finally, the moment came when she confronted her daughter directly. "Nira," the queen said, her voice low and commanding. "Step forward." Nira's heart pounded, but she stood straight. "Yes, mother." "You have been aiding the human," Marana said, her eyes like molten crystal. "Do not lie to me. I feel your heart divided. Tell me the truth." Nira hesitated. She had never spoken to her mother like this. I have spoken to him. I have listened. He is not what you fear. He is brave, intelligent, and willing to learn. He could help us understand more about humans and their ways." Marana's gaze hardened. "You speak of him as if he were worthy of trust. He is a trespasser, a human who has no right to breathe in my world. Your loyalty is misplaced. If you continue, you risk everything: your position, your safety, and your freedom." I understand, Nira replied, steadying herself. But I also understand that fear alone is not the answer. There are choices beyond punishment. Courage, wisdom, and understanding can change what seems impossible. The Queen's eyes flashed with anger. She had never faced such defiance. You will regret this, she said. The human will be executed at dawn. You may think to interfere, but I promise you, nothing can save him if I command it. Nira bowed her head slightly, hiding her determination. She had no choice but to obey for now. But inside, a plan was forming. She would not abandon Liam. If the Queen would not be reasoned with, Nira would act carefully, in secret, and use every advantage she could find. Meanwhile, Liam sensed a shift in the atmosphere. During their next meeting, Nira warned him quietly. The Queen is suspicious. You cannot make any sudden moves. She watches, she waits, and she will act without hesitation if she senses disobedience. Liam listened carefully. Then we must be patient, but we must also be ready. Tell me what I need to do when the time comes. Nira leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. Observe everything, learn the patterns, and trust your instincts. The moment you act, it will be dangerous. But you are not alone. I will guide you as best as I can. And remember, courage is not just facing danger. It is using your mind to survive and protect those you care for. Liam nodded. The weight of their situation pressed on him, but there was also a spark of hope. Nira's words reminded him that even in a world dominated by power and fear, intelligence and bravery could make a difference. That night, as Liam lay on the smooth floor of his cell, he thought about the Queen, the alien guards, and the lessons Nira had taught him. He imagined the patrols, the walls, and the hidden pathways. Every detail mattered. Every small observation could become the key to survival. And in the shadows, Nira watched him, her heart both anxious and resolute. She knew the coming days would test both of them. The Queen's wrath was inevitable, and the path ahead was perilous. But Nira believed that with courage, patience, and careful planning, they could change the outcome. The hum of Zarathia's prison was constant, a reminder of the danger surrounding them. Yet within the cell, a small alliance was forming, a human and an alien bound by trust, intelligence, and the hope of survival. Tomorrow, Liam would begin to put the first pieces of his plan into action, and Nira would find a way to be there, guiding him, shielding him in secret. The Queen's wrath was near, but for the first time, Liam was not facing it alone. The prison walls of Zarathia seemed unyielding, glowing faintly with a soft, constant hum. To any ordinary prisoner, it would have appeared impossible to escape. But Liam was not ordinary, and Nira was not willing to watch him die. Together, they began to craft a plan, small steps that could one day lead to freedom. Liam spent hours observing the guards and studying the walls. He memorized the timing of their patrols, the sounds they made when passing through the corridors, and even the faint vibrations of the floor as they walked. He noted the small shifts in the wall panels, invisible to anyone who was not paying. Close attention. Every detail mattered. Every observation could be a key to survival. Nira visited him during the quietest hours. She whispered instructions, teaching him subtle movements and ways to avoid the alien sensors. She showed him how to recognize hidden triggers in the walls, tiny glyphs that could open panels or disable security for a short time. Liam practiced mentally, running scenarios over and over. Patience and precision were essential. You must not hurry, Nira warned softly one evening. Her shimmering eyes reflected the pale glow of the prison walls. The Queen watches more than you know. A single mistake will end everything. Liam nodded. I understand, but waiting alone will not save me. We need a plan for when the moment Comes. Nira leaned closer. Then listen carefully. There is a weak point in the wall near the east corridor. A small panel, almost invisible. It can be opened if you know the sequence of movements and glyphs. It is risky, but it could give you a chance to slip out. Liam memorized the description. And after that? He asked, his voice low. The corridors are guarded, but there are blind spots. I can signal you when the coast is clear. You must move quickly, quietly, and without hesitation. I cannot be with you directly, but I can guide you from the shadows. 4 days, they rehearsed the plan in their minds. Liam imagined himself moving through the corridors, avoiding guards, opening panels, and slipping into freedom. Nira watched him, offering corrections and suggestions, refining every step until it seemed almost possible. Then came the night when the plan would be tested. Liam's heart pounded as he lay on the smooth floor of his cell, waiting for Nira's signal. The prison was quieter than usual, the hum of the walls steady and almost comforting. A faint glow appeared near the corner of the cell. Nira's eyes shone in the dim light. She gestured toward the east corridor, indicating that it was time. Liam took a deep breath. I will follow your instructions exactly, he said. I know, Nira replied softly. Trust yourself. Trust what you have learned. He moved carefully, stepping into the corridor. The walls pulsed faintly with energy, but he ignored the sensation, focusing on the sounds of the guards. One passed near a doorway, and Liam froze, pressing himself against the wall. The guard walked on, unaware. Relief surged through him. He continued step by step until he reached the small panel Nira had described. His hands hovered over the glyphs, recalling the sequence Nira had taught him. With a silent prayer, he pressed the symbols in order. The panel shifted slightly, then slid open, revealing a narrow passage beyond. Liam slipped inside, his breath shallow. The corridor beyond was dark, illuminated only by the soft glow of the alien walls. He moved silently, listening for the sound of footsteps. Each step felt like a lifetime, each shadow a potential threat. From a distance, Nira's soft voice guided him. 2 steps forward, then pause. The guard will turn. Now move quickly. He obeyed, his body tense, his mind focused. The patrol passed just as Nira had predicted. Liam pressed on, moving deeper into the maze-like corridors. His heart raced, but he did not falter. Every detail, every lesson, every observation was paying off. Suddenly, a distant alarm echoed through the walls. A faint red glow began to pulse along the corridors. Liam froze, fear and determination clashing in his chest. Keep going, Nira whispered urgently. Do not stop. You can make it. He ran, moving as swiftly and silently as possible, slipping past guards and through hidden passages. The panel doors opened and closed behind him, leaving no trace. Finally, he reached a larger chamber, filled with alien machinery that hummed and glowed. This was the outer area Nira had described, a space leading to the wild lands of Zerathia. Paused, listening. The guards were searching, but the patterns he had memorized held true. A final sprint brought him to a narrow exit. Beyond it, the alien sky stretched wide, filled with glowing clouds and towering crystals. The air smelled of rain and minerals, crisp and unfamiliar. Liam stepped out, feeling the alien wind on his face. Freedom was close, but danger still surrounded him. He turned back briefly, hoping for a sign from Nira. From the shadows, her eyes glimmered, encouraging him silently. Go, she whispered. Do not look back. Your path is ahead. He ran across the crystal fields, leaping over jagged formations, weaving through the glowing structures. The guards pursued, but the alien landscape was unfamiliar to them. Liam used every instinct, every skill, every lesson Nira had taught him. He was careful, precise, and determined. As he reached the edge of the wild lands, Liam paused to catch his breath. The alien city glittered behind him, a symbol of power and control. But ahead lay possibilities, freedom, and the chance to change the course of events. Nira watched from a hidden ridge, her heart pounding. She had risked everything to help him, and now the final moments were at hand. If Liam could escape the immediate danger, they would have a chance to plan the next steps together. The wind of Zarathia carried a strange energy, a reminder of the challenges still to come. But for now, Liam had taken the first decisive step. He had moved from prisoner to fugitive, guided by courage, intelligence, and the trust of an unexpected ally. In the shadowed halls of the palace, Queen Marana would soon discover the escape. Fury would burn in her eyes, and her pursuit would be relentless. But Liam had begun to prove that even in a world dominated by fear and power, cleverness and courage could carve a path to survival. And high above, hidden in the glowing ridges, Nira smiled faintly. The first stage of their plan had succeeded. The adventure was only beginning, and the humans' courage had already begun to change the course of events on Zarathia. Liam ran across the crystal fields, the glowing towers of Zarathia fading behind him. His lungs burned and his legs ached, but he did not stop. Every step brought him closer to freedom, but also closer to the dangers the Queen had unleashed. The patrols were relentless, and the alien landscape was unfamiliar, filled with sharp edges and strange formations. Nira followed from the shadows, guiding him silently. Her eyes scanned the horizon, noting guard movements and alerting Liam when to pause or change direction. She could not be seen, but her presence was a quiet anchor, keeping him focused and alive. Finally, Liam reached a plateau overlooking a vast chamber below. He froze as he took in the scene. The chamber was enormous, its walls lined with alien technology and energy conduits. In the center stood a device that hummed with lethal energy, a machine designed to end any life instantly. And there, restrained in the middle of the chamber, were other captives, creatures from distant worlds who had challenged Queen Marana and lost. Liam's heart sank. The execution was about to begin. He knew that if he descended into that chamber, he would have no chance against the device and the Queen's guards. But Nira's voice echoed in his mind, guiding him. "Patience. Courage is not rushing blindly. Wait for the moment." He crouched behind a crystalline outcrop, observing the guards. They moved in a precise pattern, predictable if carefully watched. Liam noticed the energy lines running to the execution device. If he could disable them even briefly, the Queen's weapon would fail, but approaching it would be extremely dangerous. Nira whispered from her hidden position. "The moment is near. I will create a distraction. When it happens, move quickly to the side conduit. You can slip inside and interfere with the device." Liam nodded silently, his muscles tense. Every instinct screamed caution, but he also understood that hesitation could cost him everything. The hum of the chamber grew louder as the Queen entered. Her presence filled the room, commanding attention. Guards snapped to attention, and the execution device pulsed brighter. Queen Marana's eyes fell on Liam. Though he was hidden, she sensed his presence. A ripple of fury passed through her. "The human is still alive?" she demanded. Her voice was calm but deadly. "No trespasser shall defy me. He will die before this night is over." Nira took a deep breath. She stepped out from her hiding place, just enough to be noticed. Her movements were deliberate. She drew the Queen's attention, forcing her to focus on her rather than Liam. "Mother," she said softly, "perhaps this human deserves a chance. Perhaps courage should not be punished without reason." Marana's eyes narrowed. "You dare question my judgment?" "Yes," Nira replied steadily. "I see bravery, intelligence, and understanding. Do we destroy what we cannot understand, or do we learn from it?" The Queen's fury flared. She gestured, and the guards began to move toward Nira. In that moment, Liam acted. He slipped from his hiding place, moving toward the side conduit Nira had indicated. His hands shook, but he focused on the patterns Nira had taught him. The guards noticed him almost immediately, and alarms echoed through the chamber. Energy beams swept across the floor, forcing him to duck and dodge. His mind raced, every observation, and every lesson combining into instinct. He reached the conduit and began working with the alien interface, pressing glyphs and shifting panels as he had memorized. Nira's voice guided him, low and precise. "Now, Liam, activate the sequence slowly. Do not rush. The device will falter if you follow exactly." The execution device pulsed, its energy rising to a blinding intensity. The Queen watched, her eyes narrowing as she realized something was happening. "Impossible," she whispered. Liam pressed the final glyph. The conduit emitted a sharp pulse, and the execution device faltered. Sparks flew and the energy lines flickered. Guards shouted, and the Queen's fury erupted in a roar. Nira stepped closer to Liam, though still within the shadows. Her eyes glimmered with determination. She knew the next move would require more than skill. It would require courage of the heart. She leaned forward and touched Liam's cheek, pressing her lips gently to his. A surge of energy passed between them, an alien biobond that neither fully understood, but both felt instantly. The conduit responded, amplifying Liam's control and further disrupting the execution device. Sparks scattered across the floor and the guards were thrown back by the sudden surge. The Queen's roar echoed through the chamber, a mix of anger and disbelief. "What is this?" she demanded, her voice trembling with fury. Liam felt the bond strengthen his focus. He continued working on the conduit, stabilizing the disruption in the execution device. Slowly, the hum of lethal energy diminished, the device now harmless. The Queen's guards were disoriented, unsure what to do. Nira pulled Liam back to a safer position, keeping him hidden from view. "Move now," she whispered. "The device is disabled, but the danger is not over. You must escape while they recover." Liam nodded. Adrenaline surged through him as he sprinted across the chamber, dodging guards and using the shadows for cover. Nira stayed close, guiding him from above. They moved with precision, combining intelligence, courage, and timing. Finally, they reached a side corridor leading out of the chamber. The hum of energy faded behind them, replaced by the alien wind and the glowing skies of Zarathia. Liam paused to catch his breath, looking back at the chamber where the Queen's power had almost ended his life. Nira appeared beside him, her expression serious but relieved. "You did it," she said softly. "The device is disabled and you are alive. But we cannot stop here. We must keep moving. The Queen will not forgive this." Liam nodded, his chest heaving. "I understand, but I also see courage and cleverness can overcome fear. With your help, we can survive this, and maybe even change things." Nira smiled faintly. "Then let us continue. Our path is still dangerous, but the first step has succeeded. The rest will require careful planning, trust, and courage." Together they moved across the alien landscape, leaving the execution chamber behind. The wind of Zarathia carried the scent of minerals and rain, a reminder that even in a world of power and fear, hope and courage could shine. And high above, hidden in the glowing ridges, Nira watched over him, knowing that their bond had changed everything. The execution had been stopped, but their journey was far from over. The Queen's wrath was still near, but for now, life, and the possibility of freedom, was on their side. The alien winds of Zarathia swept across the glowing plains as Liam and Nira moved swiftly through the jagged crystal formations. The air shimmered with colors he had never seen on Earth, and every gust carried the faint hum of the planet's energy. Behind them, the Queen's palace loomed, a symbol of power and authority, but also of danger they had narrowly escaped. Liam's heart still raced from the events in the execution chamber. The device that had threatened his life was now harmless thanks to Nira's courage and the strange bond that had formed between them. He could still feel the energy flowing through him from the kiss, the alien bio-bond that connected their thoughts and awareness in ways he did not fully understand. "Are you okay?" Nira asked softly, her eyes glimmering in the alien light. I think so," Liam replied. "But this bond, it's strange. I can sense you somehow, even when I don't see you. How is this possible?" Nira shrugged. "I do not fully know. It is a rare energy, a gift of my species. It connects two beings who trust each other completely. It can share thoughts, feelings, even help protect one another. But it is also dangerous. If the Queen learns of it, she will not forgive us." Liam nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The bond was a gift, but it made them targets. They had to move carefully, avoiding detection while learning to use this connection to their advantage. They continued across the crystal plains, moving through the alien wilderness. Jagged formations rose like towers, glowing faintly with a soft light. Strange creatures scuttled among the crystals, observing the humans and aliens with curiosity but not hostility. Liam realized that Zarathia was alive in ways he had never imagined. Every movement, every sound, was part of a larger pattern, a rhythm he was beginning to understand. Nira led him to a hidden valley, a place she had discovered as a child. The valley was filled with soft, moss-like vegetation and small pools of glowing water. It was safe, at least for now, and they could rest without fear of immediate pursuit. "Stay here," Nira said, her voice calm but firm. "We need to recover, but we also need to plan the next steps. The Queen will not stop searching. Her elite guards will be tracking us soon." Liam sat down, exhausted but alert. "What do we do next?" he asked. "We move carefully," Nira replied. "The bond we share can help us. You can sense my thoughts, and I can sense yours. Use it to anticipate danger, to communicate silently, and to act quickly. Together, we have a better chance of survival." Over the next several hours, they tested the bond. Liam discovered he could feel Nira's movements as if they were his own. When she shifted slightly, he knew instinctively where she was. When danger approached, he could sense her awareness, alerting him before his eyes saw the threat. It was a connection unlike anything he had experienced, and it gave him courage. As night fell over the alien valley, they took turns keeping watch. The sky was alive with colors, streaks of green and blue moving across the horizon. Liam thought of Earth, of the humans who had trained him, and of the mission that had brought him here. He realized that his purpose was no longer just survival. It was also understanding, learning, and perhaps changing the course of two worlds. Suddenly, Nira stiffened. Liam felt it instantly, a sharp tension flowing through the bond. "Guard patrol," she whispered. Liam moved without hesitation, following her subtle guidance. They slipped between the glowing crystals, hiding in the shadows. A squad of Zarathian guards passed by, unaware of their presence. The bond allowed them to act as one, moving silently, predicting each other's actions perfectly. When the guards moved on, Liam exhaled quietly. "This bond, it's incredible," he said. "I never imagined we could communicate like this without speaking." "It is rare," Nira said. "It is a gift and a responsibility. We must use it wisely. If the Queen senses it, she will hunt us more fiercely than ever." They continued their journey through the wildlands, encountering alien creatures and natural obstacles. At one point, a glowing river blocked their path. Liam hesitated, unsure if it was safe to cross. Through the bond, Nira guided him. "Follow my steps. Watch the stones. Do not rush. He did as she suggested, stepping carefully from stone to stone. The water shimmered with energy, and the river pulsed with strange life. With Nira's guidance, Liam crossed safely, feeling a mixture of relief and awe. He realized that survival was not just about strength or skill. It was about trust, intelligence, and connection. As dawn approached, they found a hidden cave, sheltered by towering crystals. They settled inside, taking a moment to rest. Liam felt the bond strengthen further. He could sense Nira's thoughts more clearly, her emotions flowing to him as she sensed his own. It was a connection that went beyond words, beyond ordinary understanding. "We are stronger together," Nira said quietly. "With this bond, we can face challenges that would be impossible alone. But we must remain careful. The Queen's reach is long, and her determination is unmatched." Liam nodded. "I understand, but I also see that courage, intelligence, and trust can change outcomes. Together we can survive and maybe even find a way to change her mind, or at least protect ourselves." For the first time since his capture, Liam felt a deep sense of hope. The bond was more than a connection. It was a lifeline, a reminder that even in a world filled with danger, they could rely on each other. He realized that their survival depended not just on escaping the Queen, but on understanding the strengths of both humans and aliens. High above, the alien skies glowed as the first light of Zarathia's sun began to rise. Liam and Nira prepared to continue their journey, aware that dangers still lay ahead. The Queen would not forget the disruption of the execution device, and her pursuit would be relentless. But for now, in the quiet valley, they had a moment of peace. They had survived, bonded in ways neither fully understood, and discovered that courage and intelligence, combined with trust, could overcome fear and power. Liam looked at Nira and smiled faintly. "Thank you," he said. Nira's eyes glimmered. "This is just the beginning. We will face more challenges, but we face them together." And as the alien winds carried the hum of Zarathia across the valley, the human and the alien moved forward, united by a bond that would guide them through danger, adventure, and the unknown future. The alien plains of Zarathia stretched endlessly, glowing under the twin suns as Liam and Nira moved cautiously through the crystal forests. Behind them, the Queen's palace remained a looming silhouette, a reminder of the power they had defied, and the dangers still ahead. Every step was measured, every movement calculated. They had survived the execution chamber, but the path to safety was far from over. The bond between them pulsed softly, a shared awareness that guided their actions. Liam could sense Nira's focus, her caution, and her resolve. She could feel his determination, his alertness, and the growing confidence that came from surviving impossible odds. Together they moved as one, their connection strengthening with every challenge they faced. "Do you think we can reach the outer lands?" Liam asked quietly, his voice almost lost in the alien wind. "Yes," Nira replied, her eyes scanning the horizon. "The journey will be dangerous. Queen Morana will send patrols, and there are wild creatures in the outer regions. But if we remain vigilant and use our bond wisely, we can reach safety. And then we can decide what to do next." Their path led through jagged crystal formations and glowing rivers of energy. Liam's instincts, sharpened by Nira's guidance, allowed him to navigate the terrain with surprising ease. At one point, a large creature with multiple limbs emerged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed like molten crystal, and it hissed as it approached. "Stay calm," Nira whispered. "Move slowly to the left. It senses fear more than motion." Liam obeyed, stepping lightly along the uneven ground. The creature advanced, its limbs clicking against the crystal floor, but it paused when Liam did, as if sensing the confidence in him. With Nira's subtle guidance, he moved past, never breaking his rhythm or focus. The bond between them allowed a silent coordination, each predicting the other's actions instinctively. Finally, they reached a hidden valley near the edge of Zarathia's wildlands. The valley was protected by natural barriers, crystalline, spires forming a defensive wall that even Queen Marana's patrols could not easily penetrate. Here they could rest and plan the next steps without immediate danger. "We are safe for now," Nira said, letting out a soft breath. "But this is only temporary. The Queen will not forget the disruption at the execution chamber. Her anger will be like a storm." "I know," Liam said, "but I also see that courage, intelligence, and trust can change outcomes. We have survived her wrath once. We can survive again, and perhaps even inspire others to act differently." Nira looked at him, a faint smile forming. "Then we must show that bravery and understanding are stronger than fear. The people of Zarathia, those who follow blindly, can see that courage can change even the most powerful hearts." Over the next days, Liam and Nira explored the hidden valley, learning its paths, water sources, and places where they could hide if pursued. They practiced using the bond more fully, sharing thoughts instantly, guiding each other without speaking, and anticipating dangers before they appeared. It became clear that their connection was more than survival. It was a bridge between two worlds, human and alien, united in trust and purpose. One night, as the twin suns set and the sky turned shades of green and violet, they heard distant rumbling. The Queen's patrols had found traces of them, and the pursuit was imminent. Liam and Nira prepared to move, but instead of running blindly, they chose a different approach. "We can show them that courage and cleverness can defeat fear," Nira said. "We can face them, but not recklessly. We will use strategy, not force alone." Liam nodded. They positioned themselves near the edge of a crystal cliff overlooking the patrols. With precise timing, they created subtle illusions using reflected light from the crystals, confusing the patrols and making it seem as if they were moving in multiple directions at once. The guards faltered, unsure where the fugitives had gone. Then, using the bond, Liam and Nira projected calm and confidence, a mental influence that the Queen's followers could sense even without knowing its source. Slowly, the fear and hesitation in the patrols grew, and some began to retreat. For the first time, Liam realized that their courage could affect not only themselves, but also others around them. High above, Queen Marana observed the events from her palace. Fury and disbelief filled her. The human had survived, defied her, execution, and influenced her people in ways she had never imagined. For the first time, doubt flickered in her mind. Could courage, intelligence, and trust truly challenge her rule? Liam and Nira did not stop. They continued moving through the outer lands, helping hidden creatures and weaker beings along the way, showing that bravery and understanding were stronger than fear. The bond between them allowed them to act with incredible coordination, each anticipating the other's thoughts, each decision precise and calculated. Finally, they reached a plateau overlooking the horizon of Zarathia. Below, distant settlements glimmered with life, and the alien wind carried a sense of hope. Liam turned to Nira, gratitude and determination in his eyes. "We have survived," he said, "but now we can do more than survive. We can inspire change. Courage and understanding can spread, and maybe even reach the Queen herself." Nira smiled. "Yes. This is only the beginning. Together we can show that fear is not the only way. Trust and courage can shape a better future." In that moment, the twin suns rose fully over Zarathia, casting a golden glow across the alien plains. Liam and Nira stood side by side, bound by courage, trust, and the rare energy that connected their minds. They had faced impossible odds, survived execution, and challenged the Queen's power. And now, the path ahead was filled with possibility, not just for themselves, but for all who would witness the dawn of change. The Queen would continue to watch, her power immense, but the story of the human and the alien daughter had already begun to ripple through Zarathia. Courage, intelligence, and trust had triumphed over fear and oppression. The bond between Liam and Nira was a symbol, a spark of hope that could not be extinguished. Together, they took their first steps toward a future where understanding and bravery could transform even the most controlled and fearful world. The journey was far from over, but the victory of courage over fear had already begun.